Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. You know the concept of Maris Ha'ayin. The concept of Maris Ha'ayin is that when sometimes a person could be doing something which is 100% legal, 100% kosher, but to the naked eye, to the appearance of the naked eye, somebody walking by, it looks fishy. It looks, there's something wrong here. Halachically something wrong. And we have a limud that tells us that even to protect yourself from the maras ha'ayin, from the appearance of the eye, what it looks to the outside person, we have to vayisim the kiyam Hashem Yisrael. You have to look clean and make sure nobody gets misled from your actions. There's actually different mefarshim explaining what the background of this maras ha'ayin is, but the point is that I cannot do an act that could mislead somebody to think that certain things which are prohibited are mutter. So here it is a question that I saw lately in Shas and Shuvas Sfarim. Somebody he was building something, and because part of the building process, he had to put up a temporary canvas room. He had to put up a room, and he blocked it off by canvas, at least a door. There was an entrance there, a canvas door. And we know that a regular door in a home is mechuyev b'mezuzah. What's the definition of a home? The definition is a place where you live, where you sleep. Not necessarily where you do storage or business, but something where you live and you sleep there, you're mechuyev to put a mezuzah. If you're going to be there at least 30 days. From 30 days on, you're mechuyev b'mezuzah. Now this house, this temporary shack that he's putting up, wasn't going to be there for so long. But for the naked eye walking by, this could be a shed or a shack that could be livable. That, who says it's only going to be there for 30 days, for less than 30 days? So is the shaila which was asked from some of the poskim today? I understand halachically you pater from mezuzah because it's a temporary thing you just put up just as you're fixing up or finishing up what you're building. But for the person walking by, it looks like a shed that's usable, and you could live there like a backyard or something. Should you put up a mezuzah on it? Mitzad maris ha'ayin. Mitzad maris ha'ayin. So, b'pashtus, they say mitzad maris ha'ayin. Yes, just like many other situations of maris ha'ayin, you have to put up a mezuzah. Here too, because a person walking by, even though for you it's temporary, but for the person walking by, it looks like it's sort of a permanent thing, at least for 30 days, you have to put up a mezuzah. Obviously not a bracha. We'll soon see. Obviously the bracha is a question, I should say. The trick to this shaila is, if somebody is putting up a mezuzah only because of maras ha'ayin, meaning to say, it's not something that's legally, halachically obligated in a mezuzah. You're just doing it for the person walking by. Do I really have to put up a mezuzah in there? Could I just take a mezuzah cover, a shadel, and post it there? And for the person walking by, it looks like it's a mezuzah. Does that pass the requirement of maras ha'ayin, or do I really have to put a mezuzah in there? Interesting shaila. And this was asked one of the poskim today. And one of the common places where you find in Shulchan Aruch maras ha'ayin is mentioned is when we know there's the isser of basar b'chalav. You're not allowed to eat meat and milk that were cooked together. And sometimes there are different liquids that look like milk, but they're not halachically called milk. For example, soy milk, almond milk, all these other milks that are not from a cow are not necessarily, halachically, they don't have a din of problem of basar b'chalav. But the person sees you eating something that's cooked, a meat that's cooked in a milky sauce, he doesn't necessarily know that you use soy milk. It might mislead him. This is how it's mentioned in Shulchan Aruch Siman Pei Zayin. So the halacha says, to protect that outcome, that negative outcome, if you cooked a piece of meat in soy milk or almond milk, to make sure that the person is not misled, you got to put almonds near it so people should know this came from almonds. Now, halacha today, there's other ways how to do it, etc., etc. There is a discussion in Achronim. If I used almond milk, do I specifically have to bring almonds to prove this, to chase away this issue of Marasayin? Or I could bring a bottle of soy milk. Does it make a difference that I specifically have to bring the item that I used? Once it's anyways not an issue, it's only because of Marasayin. And there is discussion. Actually, today's days, we see that by even putting a hechsher card on the table, it's fine enough. So l'chayr, from that, you could prove that you don't need the exact item. But another place where we find Chanukah, another place where we find the issue of Maris Ayin is the famous Gemara in Shabbos about Neres Chanukah, that a person has, since we put the menorah by the door, and if a person has more than one door facing the outside, going outside, there is a question. A Yid walking outside, and he knows it's a Jewish home, and he walks by a door, and he doesn't see a menorah there on Chanukah, starts thinking, what's going on? Maybe I don't have to do it. Maybe he starts, it's Maris Ayin, it's Chshad. So there's another door, and perhaps I did do it in the other door, but do I have to cover all my bases to make sure that a Yid walking through a different direction by the other door isn't misled, doesn't think negative about my situation? The halacha is that mipnei achshad, I have to cover this and make sure that there's a menorah in both. And the Ran says in that Gemara that when I put a menorah only mipnei achshad, the menorah that I put mipnei achshad, I cannot make a bracha. The one I do for the halacha of mitzvahs ner Chanukah, I could make a bracha, but the one I do mipnei achshad, I can't. That's the shita of the Ran. The Rajba, however, says that even when you put something mipnei maris ha'ayin, like that Chanukah menorah by the second door, you could also make a bracha. And he brings a raya from a shchita of a ben pekua. We know that if you shecht an animal, and in the stomach of the animal you find a baby, halachically that baby does not have to be shechted. They're already past its kashrus, its shchita, from the shchita of the mother. Nevertheless, we shecht the ben pekua because of maris ayin. It won't look normal for a standard person. Doesn't know, sees a baby animal walking around, and somebody's going to kill it and not shecht it, or not the Jewish way. So by a shchitas ben pekua, even though we're only shechting it mitzad maris ayin, nevertheless the Rajba says if somebody shechts that ben pekua, he is allowed to make the bracha. Because any time the Chachamim establish a rule that something should be done, I don't necessarily have to care about what their reason is. Either it's a takana or it's maris ha'ayin. The bottom line is the Chachamim established that you got to do something, you could make a bracha. If that's correct, let's go back to our original question about the mezuzah. If the Chachamim say maris ha'ayin, you should put a mezuzah, then you're allowed to make a bracha. How could you make a bracha on an empty box? So it seems to be from this conversation that even when you do a mezuzah mitzad maris ayin, because at least there's an opinion that says that you could make a bracha, you should put a kosher mezuzah.